Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming here. The topic that we are going to be discussing today in the OTT is Secrets Manager and Parameter Store, two services provided by AWS that makes our lives easier to manage secrets for accessing databases applications and managing environment variables for your applications. A quick rundown of what is an OTT. We either show a story time or something that we encountered, which we think that might be useful to share, or a blog post, or technology updates on technologies that we are either using or are coming, which we think that will be good for us and our clients. Please make sure to check our YouTube channel to subscribe us and give us a like. We will be uploading all the OTTs that we've had and the future ones. What are we going to be talking today? The benefits and use cases of Secrets Manager and Parameter Store, a quick rundown on how to create a secret and a parameter, along with the best practices, and an important fact about them. Let's start with Secret Manager. The benefits of this is, first of all, the database credential management for the RDS in AWS. Secrets Manager can automatically rotate the credentials for your database and store them as a secret to make your life easier to comply with security guidelines and also to be able to pass audits. This is, in my opinion, the greatest benefit that Secret Manager grants you. It also allows you to store third-party service credentials if you need to connect to any other service that is outside AWS, or for example, to authenticate with an application that you have running somewhere else in a VM or something like that. You can also store them in Secret Manager. And the cost is very small. Each secret costs 40 cents. And if you want to replicate those secrets to other regions, it costs an additional 40 cents per region. And then each 10,000 API calls, it's just 5 cents. Well, the best practices when using Secrets Manager is try to use VPC endpoints for secret retrieval. This makes sure that the traffic when you are retrieving the secrets goes within the AWS network infrastructure, and you are not charged for outbound internet traffic. Also, make sure to enable encryption using either the default KMS credentials that you have, or you can create a custom one for secret management. Also, make sure that you grant the roles the necessary IAM policies to make sure that only the necessary people have access to manage the secrets. Also, with CloudTrail, you can track who and when uses the secrets to make sure that there are no security issues. This goes hand in hand with CloudWatch, where you can set up alarms to notify you if a secret is accessed more frequently than expected or from somewhere that you do not identify. For Parameter Store, it's something very similar. The benefit is that you can store application configuration management, for example, the environment variables for your Node or your Java applications in a secure manner. You can store secure strings in Parameter Store. Also, it's very useful to store the infrastructure configuration data for example, your EC2 instances when you want to set up auto-scaling groups through your CI/CD pipelines. For the standard parameters, there are no costs. For advanced parameters, I will show you later, there's a very minimal cost if you need larger files to be stored. The best practices is that you can use versioning to manage your parameter to track, rollback, or to deploy in multiple environments. Make sure that you use secure string if you're storing things such as passwords, API keys, and tokens. Again, make sure that your IAM policies in your roles are in place so that only the relevant people have access to your parameters. You should use namespaces, for example, to separate between environments or between features or branches or something like that. And again, you can set up CloudWatch alarms to check if a parameter is being used more often than you think that it should. The main difference between Secret Manager and Parameter Store is that Secret Manager grants you automatic secret rotation. Parameter Store does not grant you that. Now let's go through an example on how to create a secret. The first thing that you need to choose is the type of secret that you are going to be using. As you can see here, for the main databases and database-like services that AWS has, you can select one of the main options. For example, in this case, it shows an RDS. So you don't need to do any additional configuration. It's out of the box working like that. As you can see below, you can select the encryption key. You do need to put the username and password yourself in this case. And as you can see, the secret creation already sees the databases in the same region where you are creating the secret. Then you need to put a description. As you can see here, you can put the path wherever you see fit. That's why I gave the example of using environments or branches or features or wherever you see fit. Also, it's very useful to use tags depending on the environment and the type of secret that you are using. You can also set up resource permissions at the secret level to restrict access to them. And as you see below here in the screenshot, you can replicate the secret to any other region that you think that you might need it. If you want to use the same secret, for example, for databases between regions. Here, you set up the rotation. You can set up the rotation either manually or automatically. The time units are hours, days, months, and years, I think. And there's a window to actually rotate the secret if you choose to do so. And then you can either create a new rotation function when you set up the secret or use one that you're already using for the other secrets. You can also have separate credentials to actually use, to actually do the secret rotation if you would prefer to do that. To create a parameter is a lot easier. You just need to put the name. Again, you can use paths to separate it between environments or just use a single string as in this example. And you can see here that we have the standard and then the advanced one. If the parameter that you're going to be using is larger than 4 kilobytes, you will need to use the advanced one. And this one comes with a small charge of, if I'm not mistaken, 40 cents per parameter. And you can set the type here. It's either plain text, the string, a list of strings, and secure string. This is the one that you should be using if you're storing passwords or any other type of sensitive data that is going to be used by your application. This is an example of a role that you can use to grant access to your secrets. As you see here, you should try to make sure that the roles, the permissions that you grant to your roles are separated between secrets. You should not have a role that grants access to all the secrets by default. For parameter store, it's a lot more simple, but again, you should make the role to have as little permission as possible for the resources that it is going to access. Some important facts on the parameter store is that, again, as I mentioned, you are only charged for advanced parameters. And again, as another reminder, make sure that you are following the principle of least privileges when creating the roles that grant access to your secrets and your parameters. That's it for the presentation. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about secret management and parameter store? Okay. Oh, there's something in the chat. Oh, no worries. One more thing that I would like to show you here is that This is an example of how to put in GitHub Actions a retrieval of a parameter store that can then be injected into an environment variable that can be used to generate a Docker image that has the environment variables. The same principle can be used to actually retrieve a secret that then you can also inject it into a Docker image. For example, you see here that this calls to the Docker Compose file that will then generate the Docker file. This is an example of the Docker file that will be using the parameters that we retrieved. This is to show you that this can also be integrated into your CI/CD pipeline to manage the secret values for your application. And again, anyone that has any questions regarding CI/CD integration of Secret Manager and Parameter Store? Okay. Well, again, thank you everyone for coming to the OTT. This will be recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, where you can also find all the other previous and future OTTs that we are going to be having. Again, thank you all for coming and have a nice Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.